these people had one thing in common. They knew they had it in themselves. They knew they could be something beyond where they were. They were willing to put their time, their energies to better themselves. What you really could do with more skills, it's just remarkable. So I would like to just tell you a couple of short stories, and we'll draw maybe a couple of lessons from them. I would like to tell you of two women that each sold a business to Berkshire Hathaway, to me actually, for many, many, many millions of dollars. Both of them started with $2,500. By a coincidence, it was the exact same amount. It was everything they had in the world. And one of them was a woman who landed in Seattle in 1917, couldn't speak a word of English, had a tag around her neck. The tag said Fort Dodge, Iowa. The Red Cross got her to Fort Dodge, where she was reunited with her husband who had come to the country a couple of years earlier. And she lived in Fort Dodge for 2 years. And as she put it, she felt like a dummy. She couldn't pick up the language. She couldn't learn a word. And so she and her husband decided to move to Omaha. So they came to Omaha in 1919, and there she found a small colony of Russian Jews, so she started feeling more at home. And then as her oldest daughter went to school, she would come home, this daughter, Frances, and she would teach her mother the words she'd learned in school that day. And this woman, Rose Blumpkin, spent 20 years saving money. She had 4 children during this period. And by 1937, after 20 years, she'd saved $2,500. She went to Chicago and she bought what she could of furniture. Her dream had always been to open a furniture store. And this woman who had never gone to school one day in her life, with $2,500, but with the same spirit that the people in this room had about having a dream and working to accomplish that dream, she built a business which she sold to me in 1983 for $60 million approximately, and which did $1.5 billion worth of business last year. This woman, Rose Blumpkin, she worked for me until she was 103. Then she retired and she died the next year, which is a lesson to all of Berkshire's managers that premature retirement, you can't tell what's going to happen. And today I'd like to tell you about one other small business person. We'll call him Jack, lived in the Midwest. He was a pretty good athlete, Jack. Went to college for a year and then dropped out. He really wasn't that interested in school. And the year he dropped out was 1941. And when the United States became under attack, he went down to the Army Air Force recruiting station, volunteered, and they turned him down because he had hay fever. So he went over to the Navy and again volunteered, and they took him. They put him on an aircraft carrier. He flew small flight airplanes during World War II, got 2 distinguished flying crosses from the Navy. And then he came back to the Midwest. And he finally became a used car salesman at a Cadillac dealership. And at age 35, having moved up in the organization, the sales organization, he said to his boss, "Could I go into car leasing business with you?" It was $25,000, which he borrowed. "We can become partners in a car leasing company." So my friend Jack started at age 35 in the car leasing business. And he had 7 cars. It was pretty slow. In fact, one of the things he did was whenever the phone rang, he let it ring 3 or 4 times so people would think that he was very busy answering other phones. And of course, it was the only call he was going to get all day. So his first venture was okay. At age 40, he decided he was going to go into competition in the rent-a-car business. So now he's taking on Hertz and Avis and National and people like that who have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of cars. And he's got 17 cars, and his cars aren't any different than theirs. But he was determined that he would offer the customer friendlier service than they've ever seen. And so he started a company. The man's name was Jack Taylor, and his son, Andy Taylor, is a good friend of mine, runs the business now. He managed to take very ordinary cars and turn them into this extraordinary business from virtually nothing. And it illustrates several points. One is you don't necessarily get it right exactly right the first time. I mean, the car leasing business, basically you were competing on the cost of money at that time. So his talents were being wasted basically in that business. The test isn't whether you get the greatest business idea in the world the first time out. The test is whether you keep learning as you go along what your strengths are and what you can do for your customers, what you can bring especially to the party. I've never seen a business, and I've seen a lot of businesses, but I've never seen one that delights the customer that doesn't succeed. But I do know, I will remember how I was treated when I bought it. I mean, you long forget about the price, but you never forget whether you had a good experience or a poor experience. And as a small business owner, and as you grow, you have to not only be able to project that interest in people's well-being in delighting them yourself. And I advise the young people that come to Omaha. We have a number of classes. The key is to, certainly in terms of your personal life, the most important decision you may make is to surround yourself with people that are better than you are. You are going to move in the direction. So I advise you to seek out, as your partner in business, your partner in life, whatever it may be, look for the people that actually are examples to you rather than somebody that will cause you to move in a better path than you might otherwise have. They will take you so far in life and I think if you looked at enterprise, I don't know their books the same way, but my guess is that very little equity capital has been added to enterprise over the years. The business built on itself. So I want to tell you, I admire this group enormously when I met Dr. Mello's class. And I admire people, a lot of hard work to further your skills. 99% graduate. I mean, it's a mind-blowing statistic. And I'm looking at 2,200 people here who I admire. I'm cheering for you, and I can tell you the best is yet to come. Thank you.